Welcome back to another episode of Playing Around Wisconsin. This journey began in late 2024, and 2025 promises to take you to new places around the state, hopefully inspiring you to see them for yourself. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Playing Around Wisconsin.
Hello everybody, welcome again to another episode of Playing Around Wisconsin. Today I'm at Skyline Golf Club in Black River Falls, and in my view already this is a very underrated, underappreciated, just not as well known of a place here in the state. Very excited to share it with you, so let's follow along and have some fun.
Tyler Millis, director of golf at Skyline, does a great job of keeping the pro shop stocked with anything you could possibly need to aid your game. They have a bar and restaurant here at Skyline too, which I have neither eaten nor drank at, but I'd be looking forward to doing so in the near future. Here's a quick look at the scorecard. 6,300, 44 yards from the tips, 4,800, 14 yards from the reds, and the Tiger Tees. Love that feature here in Black River Falls. And you might even have a drop-by visitor from the nearby military bases. That was a pretty cool flyover. I really like the first hole at Skyline. Tipping out at 357 yards, it's a dogleg right downhill par 4. Back tee box connects basically to the clubhouse, so you might have a few extra eyes on you as you tee off to start your round. The tree-lined fairways require precision everywhere pretty much on this golf course, but particularly here on the first hole. Unfortunately, I managed to clip the tree with my second shot, so I had to pitch on and try to save my par. You can see from this angle the green looks a little bit burned. There had been some unexpected irrigation problems that occurred just before my round, but thankfully it did not impact how the greens were rolling that day. Hole number 2 is deceptively tricky. Precision off the tee is an utmost priority. It's not a very long hole from the back tees, or any of them for that matter, but whenever you have an uphill shot to a small green surrounded by trees, precision off the tee is an utmost priority. Missing short and right off the tee wasn't a terrible miss in this case. I would imagine that missing deep or to the left would be a lot tougher, just having to go back down a slope and down the hill. This is only my second time playing Skyline, so I don't know all the crazy wild details about this green, but it's not a terribly complicated one once you get the ball on the putting surface. Sad to say I couldn't save my par, but 4s on the scorecard aren't a terrible thing overall. The third hole at Skyline Golf Club is a really fun par 5. It's a sharp dogleg left, and if you're a right-handed player, you best know how to draw the ball if you want to hit driver. I went with my trusty 3-wood just so I could clear the trees on the left and hopefully not hit the ball too far through the fairway. Hitting the ball through the fairway is not fatal on this hole, as the slope will prevent anything from rolling out too far. Your second or third shot is going to be downhill, so it's a great opportunity to go for the green in 2. And tossing my sand wedge away so I could rake the bunker was the last time I saw my 54-degree wedge until I completed the round. Brilliant me managed to leave it sitting right next to that bunker until a group picked it up and returned it to the clubhouse a little while later. Overall, a well-placed tee shot on this hole will allow you to be aggressive and hopefully come in with a quality score, and if nothing else, save par like I did. The fourth hole at Skyline is a very solid par 4. From the white, gold, red, and tiger tees, it is a not very long hole. And even from the back tees, the blue tees at 337 yards, it's not terribly long. But with the trees lining the fairways on both sides, just like anywhere on a golf course, precision is incredibly important. Thankfully, I sprayed my tee shot far enough to the right where I was able to lift my 9-iron over the top of the trees and leave myself a solid chance at a birdie. The green itself is a big enough target to aim at anywhere you're coming from, but the lack of accuracy can bring a big number into play on the 4th hole at Skyline. The 5th hole is the #1 handicap hole at Skyline Golf Club, and it's very, very deserving of that distinction and honor. Your target area off the tee is not particularly wide, with some long and heavy rough coming into play pretty close on the left side, and the trees hugging the right side of the fairway. After pulling my tee shot into the heavy stuff on the left, I was forced to punch up the fairway just to play things safely. And in all likelihood, this is going to be a 3-shot par 5 regardless, so just keep your course management skills in play on the 5th hole here at Skyline. No matter what though, make sure the group in front of you is clear out of your way before playing a 2nd or 3rd shot, as you will potentially have a blind look into the green. The 6th hole at Skyline can be a tricky par 4, especially after a tough par 5. It can be easy to try to get greedy off the tee and cut the dogleg on the right, but with a well-placed fairway bunker and a tree right in front of it, I highly recommend against it. As you will see, I failed miserably in my attempt to do so. And at a length of 369 yards from the back tees, there is no real reason to get too obnoxious off the tee and have to pay the price for it. So whatever your fairway finder is, use it. 200 yards off the tee is going to still get you a pretty accessible 2nd shot into the green. I made a real hot mess of this hole and really didn't need to. So heed my warnings, take my advice, play this hole safely. Hole number 7. Downhill tee shot, uphill 2nd shot. A recurring theme here on the front side at Skyline Golf Club. This hole has a particularly similar feel to the 4th hole, just with the added length from the back tees. But the distinct feature that separates this one from the 4th is the water that exists on the left side. This hole was playing into the wind the day that I was out there, and I, by some miracle, just cleared the water hazard and had a 2nd shot that was pretty clear of the trees. Missed it a little bit short, but thankfully had a solid chip for a tap-in par. The 2nd par 3 on the front 9 is the 8th hole, and at 201 yards from the back tees and up a slope is not a very easy hole. Holes like these can either make or break your round. The green is a fairly large one, but at 201 yards, holes of that length, par 3s of that length, I typically struggle to strike the green. But thankfully my tee shot was close enough and left in a safe place to go up the slope. I had a fair chance at making a solid score out of it. Now, I absolutely nuked the pitch shot, but thankfully this new putter of mine saved me today and has saved me quite a bit since then. So, a good par 3. Make sure you have enough club going up that slope. The 9th hole is a great finisher on the front side of the golf course. Unfortunately, I did not record my tee shot, but it wasn't a great one either way. So at 409 yards, this is a longer par 4, and especially when you have an uphill 2nd shot, you want enough club off the tee so that you don't put yourself behind the 8 ball. The best place to miss the fairway on this hole, in my view, is the left side, but regardless of which, you got to hope that you're clearing the tree lines on both sides enough just to have a 2nd shot clear to the green. I had to hustle to get from the 9th to the 10th hole as a couple was letting me play through. I quickly grabbed my driver out of the bag, and this is where I realized I lost my 54-degree wedge a lot earlier in the round. My tee shot found the right rough and only had about an 8-iron to reach the green. So this hole, while at 515 yards, is kind of long. Playing downhill and with the wind behind me that day really allowed me the opportunity for this eagle putt that I managed to miss. But tap-in birdies, can't complain about those. Accuracy off the tee is going to dictate success or a lack thereof on the 11th hole, especially from the back tees playing, about 55 yards longer than the white tees. Aiming to the left is going to be your safest bet, as that whole tree line on the right side of that tee box runs the entire length of the hole. Too far left of a miss is going to leave a really difficult blind shot to a fairly narrow green as well. So again, accuracy is of the utmost importance. And like I mentioned before, the green here on the 11th hole is a pretty narrow one. So a miss to the right is going to hurt you quite a bit. A miss anywhere on the green is not where you want to be. So aim small, miss small on hole number 11. Holes 12 through 17 provide a much different feel than the preceding holes at Skyline. The tall pines that line the fairway on 12, 13, 14, all the way through 17 provide almost a mini vacation in the middle of a round of golf. But if you find yourself in these trees, it ain't no trip getting out of them. So if you've been a little bit squirrely leading up to these holes, hopefully you can tighten it up so you don't blow up your round. The slope of the fairway filters into this greenside bunker, so if you have some sort of punch shot like I did, or an opportunity to hit something low and running, this is probably where your ball's going to wind up. So find the fairway, and this hole becomes a lot easier. I would have really loved to have my 54-degree wedge for this sand shot, but thankfully had a clean out with my 58-degree. Still had too long of a putt to make here, though. Continuing our journey through the North Woods, the back nine of Skyline Golf Club, is a sharp dogleg par 4. The left to right turn is sharp enough and steep enough to where you probably don't want to hit driver or anything that's excessively too long. Playing from the back tees, something about 220 yards will put you in prime position to have an approach to the green. I had an easy gap wedge right at the flag that got me a little excited, but actually just topped a little bit too far and ran through the putting surface, leaving myself a birdie putt, which I missed, but pretty proud of a par on a really fun hole. There's about an 80-yard difference from the back tees to the white tees on the 14th at Skyline. Still nestled in the woods, left, you are absolutely dead, and to the right, you're going to have some tree trouble dealing with the 13th hole, running parallel to this. A hole this tight, I don't trust my driver very much, so a fairway finder is a necessary choice here for you. Don't try to be a hero here. Find the fairway, keep yourself safe. Give yourself a chance. Very happy with a par on a tough hole, especially from those back tees. The 15th hole is a short uphill par 3 that has a blind green from any tee box that you play from. So the green, much like the entirety of this hole, slopes from back to front, so your best miss is going to be short. Anything on the left, the right, or the back, you're going to have to deal with a lot of that slope. Unfortunately, I tugged my tee shot here, didn't leave myself a particularly easy pitch to get up and down from. I can personally live with 4s on my scorecard, and especially if I miss the green on the left, right, back, like I mentioned on the tee shot. So overall, I walked away from this hole not terribly disappointed in my 4. Moving on to the 16th hole, the last par 5 at Skyline Golf Club, you're starting to feel a little bit more free from the trees, at least on the left side anyways. But, as you can see all of the houses, it's out of bounds on the left. So, while it's not trees and not visually as intimidating, you have to keep that in mind as you play your tee shot. There's a wooden playset in the backyard of one of those homes that is a perfect target line for a more conservative play off the tee. It's a sharp dog leg right, so please make sure you have enough club to clear the things on the right so you don't have to punch out like I did. Playing into a temporary green created a lot simpler of a finish to the hole than what would normally otherwise be. The hole gets a lot more narrow as you approach the green, so any sort of approach that's aggressive and to the right of the normal green is going to put you in a lot of trouble. The 17th is the easiest hole on the scorecard at Skyline. A straightforward par 3 with no uphill, downhill slope to even think of. Just find your number, swing confidently, and hopefully you'll be able to walk away from the hole worry-free. I had a 20-foot putt for birdie that I wound up missing on the short side of the hole, so make sure that you're taking the time to read these greens and look for the nuances that you might run into. The 18th hole is a strong finishing hole just about anywhere you'd play. At about 370 yards from the back tees, it's not a terribly long hole, but like any other holes on this golf course, you have to be accurate. The stuff on the left can be a little intimidating if you're playing a little scared, a little worried, and I swung scared, I swung worried, and managed to fan my tee shot to the right down into a drainage area. And not to be outdone by a malfunctioning tee shot, I had to malfunction my GoPro camera, snapping photos of me placing it down and picking it back up after hitting a second shot into this greenside bunker. All in all, a really disappointing finish to my round that I was really proud of on the back nine especially. But knowing what I know now, I would have probably taken driver off the tee, aimed on the left side of the fairway, and hoped for a lot better result than what I had with my 3-wood. A good lesson to learn: don't play scared. As we bring another episode to a close, I cannot recommend Skyline enough. Its variety and hole design will keep you entertained from start to finish. And the convenient location just off of I-94 makes it easy to get to and from Skyline. And you might have a surprise visitor or two drop in on you as you play. So get out here and see this place for yourself. I really mean it. As always, thank you so much for watching another episode of Playing Around Wisconsin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks again.